So we're jumping into our second set of our second set of the day, which is going to be Kane versus Guitarcheese. Both of probably the underdogs of the group, but yeah, anything's possible. Spawning to the top right is the blue Zerg from Team Solaris. We have Guitarcheese. Spawning in at the bottom left from Team My Insanity, we have Kane.
Gotta love the creativity with Kane's tags on NA. He's a funny guy. I think I haven't really seen too much of his play recently. Honestly, I haven't been able to see a lot of European Starcraft, mostly because of how hectic like the North American scene has been in the last couple weeks as far as tournaments go. But I know that Kane's good. I also know he likes to travel a lot, so I'm not sure how much he's been able to practice leading up to this. But he did qualify by being in the top 8, right, of American Grandmaster League, so he must have been playing a good amount.
Yeah. This is I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but I'm really curious, and I know the fans are curious too. Maybe you actually know. So I read some stuff on Reddit recently concerning Kane having a fake leg. Is that true? Is that something Kane doesn't like to talk about, or
what? No, he's as far as I know, he's open about it.
He does have a prosthetic leg.
Yeah.
Okay, I never knew that about Kane before. I had no idea, but then I read.
He's pretty open about it. I remember when we were at the Root House, like he's telling me all about it.
Gotcha. Well,
some pretty high tech stuff.
Yeah. There you go. Looks like we have both players going for a hatch first build. Kane's hatch starting a little bit quicker than Guitarcheese is there.
In this matchup, like this is a map, I kind of already brought this up, I guess, in the Life Hero series, but this is the kind of map that someone like Scarlet, who I would kind of say is, you kind of look at players like Scarlet, Hendrilisk, and Kane, and you see a lot of similarities. This is a map where you see those fast pools. So I think it's not really a bad map to ever go pool first on, but both players seemingly feeling pretty comfortable. I guess neither of them are really that cheesy. At least I feel like Kane would be on the cheesier end of the spectrum.
I think Kane is capable of throwing in some pretty crazy stuff. Guitarcheese going for a bit of a later gas than Kane, but not so late that like he's gonna be taken, you know, like off guard by some crazy timings. I think for the most part, both players open pretty similarly. I mean, every Zerg player will tell you like a different order of like, when do you hatch, when do you gas, when do you pull? You're like, I always 15 hatch, but then you drone up to 16 and then pull, and then immediately get your gas afterwards. You're like 15 hatch, 15 pull to get the pull out one drone faster, and then you don't take the gas till 17. Like every Zerg seems to do like those beginning timings like a little bit differently. And I mean, you kind of saw both players time things out a little bit differently here, but for the most part, we're pretty even. 2 queens coming from each player. Speed started by Kane. Speed going to be started by Guitarcheese here, and about 16 gas too.
Yeah, I have to say, like Zerg versus Zerg, it's a matchup that like the spree of everybody going gasless has kind of come to an end, and there was like everybody just wanted to get like 2 evolution chambers, like the 2 queens, just wall off their natural, and then you basically had like NR 15 until there was mass roaches on the map. But I like seeing these speedling openers again, and you know, we kind of said this, if there's an aggressive player in this series, I like Kane to be that guy. Guitarcheese throwing down a spine crawler is his way of saying, I'm not feeling like getting too aggressive anytime soon.
So this is something that I really don't like in this matchup. I don't like building spines in ZVZ. I feel like when you build spines, what you're saying is my Baneling micro is really bad. Does that? But I might be the only Zerg that feels that way, because there are some Korean players that are much better than me that also build spines. But like, I don't know, like if I'm Kane and like you go ahead and you scout out that spine, like, oh cool, like you just wasted 100 minerals plus the drone. I'm just gonna drone up that much harder, or I'm just that much more ahead. Like, I don't know. I really have I got very negative feelings towards that spine. But
yeah, well, the thing is, Kane getting the Zergling in also sees that there's no Baneling nest, but instead of taking any aggressive reaction to that, he's just going to go straight up to Lair, which I also like, because even though both players opened up speed, Guitarcheese just doesn't really have any type of aggressive setup, so Kane might also try to squeeze out a 3rd base, but it doesn't necessarily have to. He's got a couple Banelings at home for defense, but yeah, Guitarcheese is just going to take his lair as well. So I guess it's just a regular roach setup, but I do agree with you. That spine crawler ends up being like pretty much completely useless for Guitarcheese. Like having the extra resources and getting maybe his lair a little bit faster might have been a better option in this situation.
Yeah, I always feel that way. Like the spine is always useless. Like if your opponent scouts the spine, he's not going to like, well, time to go and all in him. Like, I don't know, it just... But, so, I mean, Kane playing about as well as he should be. Guitarcheese didn't actually get a good scout off with those links. He lost him, like, right at the entrance, so I'm a little bit worried. He has no idea what's going on. Although, it looks like he's probably going to go for a +1 timing anyway. Kane actually throwing down the Roach Horn. I thought he would have went for a Spire, getting the lair that early, but...
Yeah. As I said, both players are going to go straight into Roaches, and Kane, I like this little bit of faux pressure he's put on by moving some of these Zerglings and this Baneling outside the natural of Guitarcheese, because he takes his third base amidst this, and getting this just a little bit earlier than your opponent when you're both going Roaches can be really, really important. Because remember, like in Wings of Liberty, ZVZ was all about like who can actually saturate their third base without dying to the other player's Roach attack. And if Kane can get just a couple of extra drones on his third base, if he can just split his saturation up, once you get that Roach lead, I feel like it's very difficult for a player that's behind in Roach versus Roach to come back.
Yep. You do have the, you've got the home base advantage to help a little bit in that you can spawn in Roaches faster than your opponent. But I mean, like in this scenario where Kane's third is quite a bit faster than Guitarcheese's third. I don't know if that home base advantage is going to be enough to even out the economic advantage that Kane's going to get there. But, yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see. A lot of links coming in for Kane here. I think he's got enough links to maybe take out these Roaches. He probably could, but 5 more Roaches in pursuit.
Yeah, trickling down the Roach count at this point, there's enough Roaches to defend the third base, and with the Queens, with that Spine Crawler, I don't think the Zergling phase is really going to have any more impact. So, trading out a couple links for Roaches definitely doesn't seem bad, since every Roach does have a big impact, I feel, once you move towards the later stages. And Kane's also going to have an Overseer going in Scout. We could see a Contaminate. Actually, I love the position of this because he's going to be able to see when that +2 starts on this Evolution Chamber.
Guitarcheese working down Kane's Overlord there, and moving around the map with some Roaches.
I love this little Zergling play. He catches this Queen. Like, killing even just this Queen would be a nice save because the Overlord doesn't die. He doesn't get his first inject off on this hatchery. And it's just frustrating for Guitarcheese because you want to get your production up. You want to get everything going. And so far yet hasn't been able to completely establish his third base. Yeah,
that's losing that Queen in that area when that Overlord was like 3 shots from death is pretty frustrating there.
Yeah, he only has 2 Queens, so he misses. He's going to miss a full inject cycle or 2 off of this because of it. And then there's a Contaminate. Actually, the +2 attack of Guitarcheese was blocked for 30 seconds. So Kane actually... It's actually funny because Kane started his +2 a little bit later, but because of the Contaminate, it'll finish sooner. However, this move out from Kane, he doesn't have any upgrade advantage just yet. He's just kind of walking up with a... It is a superior Roach count, but definitely feels a bit brave.
Yeah, you're at that part in the ZVZ where both players are just kind of moving back and forth and kind of threatening pressure. Although it looks like Kane, if you do see weaknesses through doing that, I mean, you obviously go for it. And Kane does see that he has a superior Roach count here.
He still got the Roach count lead so far.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he's got just a few more. And with this spread that he has, like, the Queens are nice for transfuses, but
or even just taking some damage. But it looks like...
he's softened up these Roaches so much that if he has enough left over and the reinforcing wave can't bowl it all back, then that makes things really tricky. Because Kane has still been producing a couple of drones every couple cycles behind this. He's up 10 workers right now.
Yep. And
I feel like this gives him a much bigger advantage than it really seems like once we get, just another minute or 2 for these drones to mine.
Yeah, for sure. It's always hard to make that call, like, as you're attacking there. Like, do I reinforce with Roaches, or should I drone as I go to attack? I mean, obviously, we saw there Kane was reinforcing with Roaches. He probably would have closed the game out immediately. But, even though he didn't, I mean, he did get that nice drone advantage. He was able to pop those 10 drones out. A little bit behind on upgrades. That Carapace upgrade is going to come a little bit later for him, but I think he's in a pretty good spot right now.
Yeah, I like Kane's position. +1 Carapace will finish up faster for Guitarcheese, and upgrades in Roach versus Roach have pretty big impact. Something I've slowly been realizing is just how much even that +1 can help when it comes down to just 1 or 2 attacks from a Roach to finish another one off. The Kane moving into Burrow and Tunneling Claws, I think is a totally fine way to go about this. His +2 attack actually gets delayed with a Contaminate from Guitarcheese for about 30 seconds, but I feel like Contaminate is really good when you want to go for an attack, because if he hit him right as his +2 finished before Kane's did, then that could actually give him a huge lead, and it kind of almost does, but Kane's should still finish.
And he does actually have an upgrade lead here now. Kane pre-spreading his Roaches on the top of this ramp, so he's got a good concave, always very important.
Yeah, but now the +2 is done for Kane. He's only down that 1 upgrade, and if he still has a Roach lead, which he actually doesn't, this could actually get pretty ugly if he takes a bad fight.
Guitarcheese doing his best to spread his units here. I don't know if Guitarcheese has enough. Oh, it looks like he might. I can't tell, man. I hate Roach vs. Roach.
Dude, Roach vs. Roach is hard, but like, I mean, as a Zerg player, like, if you're Guitarcheese trying to attack you, like, is it just about this position? Like, what is?
I mean, the position.
Like, just trading. He's like trading, but he's not like fighting over a particular area. He's not gaining much if he wins this ground.
Not only is the position good, but if you trade evenly with your opponent and you're in their base, it's nice because if you want to retreat, you've got plenty of time to wait for your reinforcements. And if you're able to camp your opponent's production, you can oftentimes pick off a lot of free units that you otherwise probably shouldn't be able to kill, you know?
Yeah.
Like if your opponent... Sorry, guys.
Yeah, the +1 carapace did finish for Kane during the fight, but I feel like Guitarcheese already really accomplished what he was originally setting out to do. He sees that Kane has a Tunneling Claws upgrade because the Roaches have little gems on their heads now, so he kind of knows that he needs to be worried about burrow play. I feel like this rally from Guitarcheese is a bit of an overextension.
Yeah, and I was about to say that when you said he accomplished what he set out to. I kind of agree with that. I think he could have left a lot earlier, though.
Yeah, like you kind of win that fight a little bit decisively, and then just back off.
Yeah.
But if you hang around, then you bleed out a few more Roaches, and suddenly... You know, we were talking about Kane having a few more drones. He's had a few more drones this whole game. And he's going to move on to take his gold base. And I feel like Kane doesn't need to do anything too crazy. He can just harass since he has burrow and he has the burrow move. And now Guitarcheese is the one that has to play a little bit defensively.
And you see, this is the worst thing in the world to deal with. It's very easy to be aggressive in a ZVZ. Like, you know, people used to remember Stefano doing that, where you cut off just like 5 or 6 roaches and send it to an opponent's base. And it's so annoying to deal with that, because you never know how many roaches to take off your own army. And Kane is doing exactly that. Not to mention, you always have to have an overseer as well, because the roaches will just burrow and regen or just walk away. And usually, I like to see this kind of harass paired with an attack at the same time. I don't like that.
Yeah, you want to distract your opponent.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy for Guitarcheese to focus on killing this when there's nothing else really tasking his attention. I do agree with that.
Yeah, I don't like that Kane didn't move those roaches in the front, even to just threaten pressure, just to make Guitarcheese take his eyes off that harass. Guitarcheese really low on drones right now.
Yeah, he did kill quite a couple. He just rebuilt 7 now. He's still below Kane in the overall count, so Kane's kind of like very slight economic advantage. And now with this gold base about to finish up, it actually should skyrocket for him, because there's no 4th base for Guitarcheese whatsoever. Like, Guitarcheese even supply blocks. Is he just gonna get his +2 carapace and do a big attack? Well, he's actually about to get contaminated again, so that might not even be an issue.
So one of the weird things about ZVZ is that sometimes what you want to do is you actually want to keep your worker count a little bit low, because you get into these max versus max fights where having that extra like 3 roaches is actually really important.
And these roach balls gonna crash into Guitarcheese, and this is one of the most beautiful mating rituals of all time. All these roaches getting up together nice and close.
Wow, and it looks like Kane did have the numbers here, even though the upgrades are even. And just as I say that, it kind of looks like Guitarcheese is starting to win. Just kidding. I hate roach versus roach.
Though, like, it's Kane's reinforcements that are gonna do it. Like, he just needs these roaches to buy him a little bit of time, because he's mining that gold base. And you know, if you look at the income tab, like, he is raking in the money. Like, his ability to reproduce an army the size of Guitarcheese's is so good that I feel like Guitarcheese, as much as he'd like to counterattack, he really can't.
No, not at all. And Guitarcheese, even though the supplies are kind of similar, even though actually, well, Kane really has a supply lead, Guitarcheese is still waiting for so many roaches to catch up to his army, while Kane's are, you know, they're right there, because obviously Kane is defending, and the defender's advantage that I talked about earlier, you know, it's really important. Guitarcheese trying to take the gold of his own, but I don't think Kane is going to let that happen. And I like what Kane is doing here, breaking off those 5 roaches to the side, while look, even though he's not attacking, he's threatening pressure, so that Guitarcheese isn't watching these roaches.
It forces a reaction out of him, and now if Kane really wants, he can try to make something happen at this gold base. Guitarcheese does keep a lot of roaches here, but you know, the less you pull off to defend, the more difficult it is to actually catch and kill these broad roaches. And Kane's actually going to go for it on this gold base. I mean, basically just big train lines of roaches going at it. It does look like Kane should have enough to break this, though. And his roaches in the main are still doing quite a bit of work. Good transfuses. Guitarcheese gets a better concave on him. However, with every trade, I feel like Kane just gets more and more ahead because of the income that he's pulling.
Definitely. I definitely agree with that. Although once Guitarcheese has his gold set up with the lower drone count, he might actually be able to squeeze back in, since he will be able to build a few more roaches. Not really too many, I guess 3 or 4 right now, but
Kane never got +2 Carapace either, and
yeah,
Guitarcheese has that now, which is also really nice.
Kane needs to be careful not to throw away too many roaches to harass us like that. That was really bad. He just lost like 6 roaches for free there. Although Guitarcheese losing a few roaches to the side too, but looks like he's got a decent position here to pick off some of Kane's army. Guitarcheese actually moving into a really strong position here.
He's utilizing that upgrade advantage, saying, yes, I would love to fight you in even or slightly behind numbers, and suddenly Kane just seems to be falling apart. Guitarcheese is moving over towards this gold base, and Kane, this is really awkward now because this is a huge source of Kane's income as the main base is mined out. Kane's going for a counterattack of his own, and I do like this. Potentially could just go for the Roach Warren and cut off the production arm of Guitarcheese. Yeah,
and it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. Now, in order for that Roach Warren pickoff, Guitarcheese is already starting another one. In order for that pickoff to be relevant, he's going to need to reinforce and push pretty much all in for the next, like, minute or two. Because if he lets that Roach Warren just finish again, then there was, like, no point to killing it. He's going to lose his whole army here.
Yeah, this is a pretty crazy situation to be in. He's got roaches in the gold base. Those are being repelled. Still a good number of roaches in the main base. That new Roach Warren for Guitarcheese is being built at the third base in the top left. I do like that he's burrowing and trying to split around this base, but there is a little bit of detection with this Overseer, so Kane doesn't really have much that he can do at this point. However, I feel like he's bought himself enough time and delayed that roach production. Just look at the bank that Guitarcheese has. Like, he had to wait so long to get any additional forces out on the map, but I'm really worried about Kane's income.
This is also really scary. This is one of the things I hate about ZvZ, is that you feel good killing drones in any matchup besides this. Kane actually got a few drones at Guitarcheese. Guitarcheese down to 39 drones, but look what that does to his roach count. You know,
his army supply is
his army supply is going to be so much bigger than it really.
152 to 118.
And Guitarcheese still has 9 more supply to throw 4 more roaches in there. And also, you can actually play this low drone style even more efficiently when you have fewer drones because you don't need as many to mine that gold out. Good burr roach attacks here from Kane, although Guitarcheese, I think, is just going to go for it. Guitarcheese. Yeah. I wish he was maxed out on this attack. He can still build a few more roaches, but...
Guitarcheese is just going to swing the hammer now. I don't think that there's much that Kane can do. He's trying to force like this awkward... I don't want to say base trade because he hasn't managed to actually hit the economy, but he's going for, I think, the other Roach Warren as he cleans up the third base mineral line, and he's actually managed to force Guitarcheese back. He's got a lot of roaches on the map, but the total roach count at this point is 73, 82 now for Guitarcheese versus just 54. 82 roaches.
So what I think is going to happen, Jesus, all those drones get better. I think what's going to happen is Guitarcheese is literally just going to try to max out. Actually, he can't max out.
Guitarcheese has 3 drones. Like,
yeah, he's just going to build as many roaches as he can, and he's just going to attack. And that's what we're going to see as soon as this attack is held off.
Yeah. Kane's Roach Warren got killed too, by the way, so he's been making up a good amount of resources. I think having killed literally all but 3 drones of
I think Guitarcheese is going to win.
Somehow holds on.
Guitarcheese has this. Look at the roach count. 87 roaches. That's 194.
Yeah, over double his opponent's roach count.
Almost 200 supply in pure roaches. 88 roaches.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen this many roaches on the map at once. We're getting towards like high score number of roaches because Kane's like, okay, I've got a lot. I've got 65 now. I was like, no, it's really not a lot compared to this. He's gonna go in and trade. He's only fighting one portion of his army at once. Oh, but the great clutch burrow. However, his roaches are now kind of sitting on top of Guitarcheese's. But now that this left side army is moving into the main force, like Kane's is gonna trade worse and worse and worse. But Guitarcheese is actually. Wait, how is Kane making this work?
I think the burrow getting caught in the middle there was really, really bad for Guitarcheese. Even though he burrowed, Kane did have an oversteer there, and he was able to pick off quite a few of those roaches. Kane is actually...
One, but he's got a ton more already coming out.
Yeah, he caught up. If you look at the roach count right now, 45 to 44. He actually managed to catch up with 10 more on the way.
He's got his drones too. It's not like his opponent has any drones to lose at this point. So bring absolutely everything, all of these drones coming in to hug the forces of Guitarcheese with more reinforcements coming out. There is no there's no transition. There's nothing Guitarcheese can do. Kane's actually managed to pull this game out. I'm really impressed. A very well fought game 1 victory for Kane. I was honestly not expecting that at all. When there's 86 roaches on the map, like how do you lose to 46?
I think Guitarcheese had it, but when he got caught, you saw that when he had to burrow because like half of his army got caught like all up inside Kane's army. I think that's what killed it for him, because there were so many roaches that he lost there for free, and all of Guitarcheese's roaches were like trapped up like at the third, like in the upper left between the third and the natural, just kind of hanging out there, while like 1/3 of his army was just getting absolutely slaughtered by all of Kane's roaches just sitting there killing him. I think that the positioning on his army really messed him up there, which is unfortunate because otherwise, yeah.
He took. It feels like you would say that he took like the worst fight humanly possible in that scenario, and I only say that because he managed to lose a fight when he was up double his opponent's supply in roaches. Kane, I don't know how many times he's been in a situation like that where he actually knew what to do, but apparently going for the snipes on all of your opponent's drones and his roach warren is one way to deal with not being able to fight the actual army.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm pretty sure ZVZ's, at least on ladder, end up like that pretty often. Roach vs. Roach is cancer. I hate watching it. I can't. Man, I'm actually really surprised. And looking at some of those fights, I actually couldn't tell. It looked like it was going one way, and then it just switches to the other way, and I have like no idea. And then it almost feels like looking at my ladder games. Like what? I thought it looked like there. Like when Kane moved up to attack, was it Guitarcheese's gold? And it looked like Kane had enough when he moved up and he spread and he was winning, and then all of his stuff started dying. And Guitarcheese.
There's like a weird trick to trying to commentate fights like that, and it's just like you hold control to select all units, and then you just keep clicking on both armies. And
that's what I was doing. Yeah, that's what I do. But
like that, and if the one, but then it's like, but then it's completely warped because it's like Kane has more, but you're right. Guitarcheese with his +2 armor, it's like I didn't really think it was gonna allow him to win when he was down 4 or 5 roaches. And, yeah, those fights are really hard to call, but I think the just how many different areas he was able to slip roaches into for the that mid-late game harass, like that's really what sealed the deal for him. Because if he ends up just fighting against a full economy Guitarcheese that can max out with a higher supply of roaches, I feel like in head-to-head fights, like Guitarcheese should have been able to win that game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think getting caught at the third and losing that huge chunk of his army just kind of messed everything up for him. I think if he wouldn't have gotten caught there, I think he had what he needed. If Kane would have been forced into like an awkward kind of base trade scenario, he wouldn't have had the army that he needed in order to actually take out what Guitarcheese had. But getting all of that caught there was just rip.
Yeah.
Like, what can I say? Napa.
Napa HD, man. He got put in a really awkward position. King Sejong Station for map number 2. And King Sejong Station, I also feel is a pretty good roach map. But then again,
every map is a roach map in ZVZ, right?
Exactly. I'm trying to think of like a map that would actually make you want to play like Ling Bane for 30 minutes instead of roaches. I can't even think of a rigged map. Maybe an island map. Even then, people would probably still find a way to spam out ridiculous amounts of roach.
The slow
upgrade roach drops.
Remember in Brood War there'd be island maps, and sometimes you would see like the slow drops, the ZerG slow drops. You'd never see it coming. The Overlord. Oh man, dude, so many, such days. Anyway, both players. Kane playing Terran this time, please.
That would be sick. I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna be like, you're allowed to play Terran if you want.
Oh,
just
really?
saying. Well, I don't actually know. Oh, you made the rules. You tell me.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. I mean,
I didn't remember reading anything about race switching, but when I see ZVZ, I don't think I would say no to it.
I mean, Scarlet would agree with you.
I guess, yeah. Her Protoss is pretty dirty. All right, counting down into game number 2. Do you think, based on how that game played out, with like the way that the upgrades and everything set themselves up, like unless Kane pulls some some more crazy maneuvers, like do you like Guitarcheese in this match, or should Kane just bowl him over for a 2-0?
I think that was relatively even. I think it was a pretty even back and forth. Yeah, Contaminate's going down, the positioning. I think either player could win it. After that last game, I don't see anyone as like a really clear favorite to walk away with this game.